everybody. Welcome back to the Coleman's Theatre at the Rotary Arts Center. Today I am joined by a very special guest, Jessie Donalson. Hey, Jessie.
Hello. Hi.
And how's it going?
It's going good. I'm a little nervous, but it's good.
I was just thinking about how, because we were kind of laughing when we were waiting to start, and I was thinking about once with my friend asked me to be on a radio show with him, and he was like, just bring in 5 songs, and you could just introduce those 5 songs, and I was like, cool, no problem. And then we got there, and then as soon as I was like on air, I just couldn't stop laughing. Like I was just like, bah! And he was like, okay, next, and then he'd be like, okay, and then he'd be like, next song, what's this song? And I'd just be like, and he was like, just say Beach House, just say the Beach House.
Just laughing. It's like when you're doing a presentation in school and you just laugh and laugh. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, but it's funny. Like I think after that, like my friend had been like, yeah, a bunch of my family listened, and they were all like, this is really funny. It's not it's not like you're like crying or like they were like, this is delightful in a very strange way. I'm so happy to have you here today. Thanks for agreeing to come in and talk a little bit about your art practice and some plans. So just for anybody who's not yet familiar with Jessie's work, this is a print that she made recently. What kind of, is this litho?
Yeah, this is just a screen print. I'm brand new at screen printing. It's just an example of kind of what I'm working on right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So this is in Cornbrook, right?
Yeah, that's looking from Three Bear Mountain over kind of towards the hill across the way.
Oh man.
Like, there's the Salvation Army is like up there.
It's like over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sweet. I love it. Yeah, it's so cool. There's so much depth. Just this, it really kind of captures like the hilliness of Corner Brook.
Right. There's another version that shows sky, and I'm kind of torn between the two. I'll end up doing both as prints, but that's just the first one I've pulled. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've been. I know you just moved back here a while ago to finish a program at Grenfell.
Yeah.
And you were here. How long were you gone? A couple of years?
I lived here from 2013 to 2017.
Okay, cool.
And then was away for a couple years, and I always knew I'd come back. I just wasn't sure when, and yeah, it's now, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah, welcome back. And I know that you're so like in the midst of completing your degree at Grenfell. Like this past summer, you were doing some cool work with CB Nuit, which was very community oriented.
Yeah.
Maybe you can sort of explain that project and then sort of tell us a little bit about your practice generally.
Okay. Well, the CB Nuit project, I saw the call for submissions while I was working in film back in BC, and I thought, I got to step out of my comfort zone and try something like this. And it was basically an amalgamation of just things I do, like collecting objects, putting them together into little assemblages, and I've always wanted to work with shadow and light. Cool. So it was a good way of like combining all those things and working with other people to be like, this is how it doesn't have to be like detailed drawings or paintings. Like art can be just finding junk and putting it together.
Totally, yeah.
So it was really fun, and we worked with some of the elementary school kids, and we went out and basically just did what I do. We went out, collected stuff, brought it back, and then the next day I came back and I said, what do you see in this? And that's what it can become.
Oh, that's so nice.
So yeah, it came together pretty well. I didn't get much documentation of the night of the videos, but it seemed to be well received.
It was really cool. It was like I got to see it sort of when it was on display. So it was like a light box right behind, was that?
Yeah, it was, well, there was like a facade with a screen, and then I had a projector from behind it just showing like warm light, and then the shadows were created by the objects hanging from the back. Right. And yeah.
So like from the front, you could see the objects and their shadows, and then from the back you could see the shadows.
Yeah, from the back you actually saw a double. You'd see the shadow behind the object, and then you'd see the object, which I think is beautiful because you've got wood and wire and all these just found objects, garbage, rocks, sticks.
Yeah, I think first when I saw it, I thought it was intended to be looked at from that side, and then I saw it from the other side too, and I was like, it's both really cool.
Yeah.
Because they're just like the collection of materials and just the fact that you got kids involved. And
Mm-hmm.
I think you showed me some of the your favorite ones.
The little turtle. Oh, I wish I brought that.
It's
Yeah.
so cute.
The turtle was my favorite. There were some beautiful, beautiful things.
Totally, yeah. And it's just such a nice like combo of making art, involving kids, involving the community, and also it seems like you use like very sustainable materials in your practice. So doing
Yeah,
that.
as much as I can, I try to reuse garbage or stuff that's from the ground or scraps from recycling.
Cool.
At Grenfell right now, I'm doing some things that are new for me, like say, for example, screen printing, which has, different products that I'm not used to using, and I'm trying to see if I can make that as sustainable as possible. But yeah, like reusing stuff that people throw out is kind of my favorite. And we're actually doing a CB Nuit event this April 1st and 2nd.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to be doing a collaborative project with the community, whoever drops in. And I'll be making a drawing of West Street and screen printing a bunch of fabric. That's what I'm practicing right now. And then I'll cut the drawing out into templates so people can come up and be like, oh, I want to do the lamppost. So they'll have the lamppost template, and then they can pick from all the fabric and then cut it out and then stick it up. And it'll be like a scene of West Street.
Cool.
And then hopefully for the fall event, we can do people and put them in front of it. So it'll be a big kind of mural tapestry thing.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm
How
excited.
big will it? Like, it'll probably be pretty big, right?
I haven't blown it up yet, but I'm thinking like 5 by 3 feet or something.
Cool.
Not huge, but big enough to, yeah.
That's so neat.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So then that's happening in April, and then the people, you said in the fall?
Yeah, hopefully we make the backdrop together this April 1st or 2nd, and then I'll be able to bring that to CB Nuit in the fall.
Right.
And then what I'm hoping to do, and this could change by then, is just sketch people, either while they're walking around or if they want to pose, to be quickly sketched, but it will be using fabric. So I'll make little portraits of them, like 2-minute, very gestural portraits, and then they can assemble it and then put themselves wherever they want to on the scene.
That's
So,
so, man.
I mean, it
love
could
that.
change by then, but that's kind of the idea right now.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Was that your idea?
Yeah, I
Nice.
was just talking to Louise a couple of days ago, and that's kind of what I was like, oh, that we could do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's like that's a very sort of community oriented thing too, and it sounds really fun.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, totally. How can people do you have any will it be out of here, do you know? Or
It's going to be at the Arts and Culture Center.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
The workshop, like the CB workshop.
Yeah, I think they're having a whole evening event with kind of alumni from past CB Nuits, so I'm not too sure details yet, but yeah, I think it's just like a drop-in event.
Oh, cool.
Evening. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, anyone not familiar with CB Nuit, it's just a really great sort of arts festival that's been happening the last few years in Cornerback. I guess they skipped 1 year because of COVID, like the first year.
Maybe they did it online.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping to interview Louise soon as well, just because it's such a cool festival. Like you did that piece in it last year. We played at it. It's like the whole of West Street. I feel like a lot of people watching might know what it is, but I know that a lot of new students come here and they don't. They see posters for it around campus, but I had a few of them not know what it was last week. So it's in the fall and it's also free, right?
It's just free to attend. I think everything is like you were playing at the show. I don't think people needed to pay. At
No.
Blue Leg? No, yeah. It was,
yeah. I think they could just walk down. Like they kind of close off West Street. It's like Nuit Blanche. Bigger cities will do a Nuit Blanche, and I think the CB Cornerbrook Nuit. It's a kind of a very similar thing.
And it's nice because it's in fall, so you've got the crisp air. You might have a sweater on, but it's not it's not treacherous weather.
Yeah, it was really nice last year because it was like, it wasn't balmy by any means, but it was like you could definitely kind of go out, walk around, and just like some things were indoors, some things were outdoors. A lot of things were outdoors actually. It didn't rain, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool. And you had sort of broader involvement with that as well, right? Like you were.
What do you mean?
Or are you? Wait, maybe I'm with the festival kind of?
No.
Oh,
just-
okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
But that was
just
like a
applied.
huge project. Like, how were you able to get kids involved? Like, how did you go about that process?
Well, the CB Nuit has a community project and then a bunch of smaller projects, and it's kind of expected that the community project will have something that's got to be interactive, and it's known from the get-go that you'll be working with schools.
Right.
So when I applied, I was like, okay, what's something that's easily done with anybody? And so, yeah, I just thought, well, kids, I mean, already, you know, they see a cloud and it's like, oh, that looks like a dinosaur. And so, yeah.
Yeah, they're like imaginative,
Yeah.
and that's really cool. I think when I said that a minute ago, I think I saw like the community art specific role that because
Okay,
I
yeah.
guess that's sort of within the festival itself. Like there's smaller independent projects, and then that's
Right.
kind of one of the
Yeah.
more sort of collective
Yeah.
spots in the festival. So.
Yeah.
That's really cool to get. That's really awesome, and you did a
Yeah,
really great job.
It was like nothing I'd ever done before, and I'm really happy it all turned out. I mean, I basically started constructing the theater as soon as I moved here.
Yeah.
I think I had a day or two, and then started that, and then school started, and visits, and, you know, it came together just in time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that would be because it's more than just like a go in and say hi to some kids for it. Like you have to like tell them about the project, and they make things, and you do workshops with them, and you consolidate all that. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of sort of management of people and personalities and stuff like that too. So
no, it was really fun.
that's awesome. That's really cool. I know that you're also. So you're setting up a studio here soon as well? Is that?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a studio later this spring or mid-spring. I'm not sure when exactly. So I can have a spot to work on things and hopefully give lessons too.
Cool.
Group lessons or individual lessons, whoever's interested in whatever.
Like painting or drawing or just...
It would kind of be just open creativity things.
Nice.
I can do drawing specifically, but my approach to making is kind of just fluid and work with what you have. So, you know, if someone says, oh, I want to learn this specific thing, we can work on that. But I really like just intuitive, no stress. Like, I don't want it to be a stressful thing.
Yeah, totally.
More just a gentle practice.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you work with like lots of different mediums in terms of sort of kind of having a like the project that you were telling me about with the wasps. There were so many kind of different types of mediums going together towards an idea. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever, like, I don't really think I'm going to do one project in this one medium. It might just start with a feeling or something, or, you know, I definitely have aesthetic things I like. Like, I love the look of wood and metal and fibers. And yeah, I don't honestly know how things come together. It's just they kind of build as you go, or I don't know.
That's really, I mean, that's really nice though, like having an intuitive response versus just like arbitrarily deciding like, oh, I'll use this or I'll use this. Just sort of following the feeling of it. That's kind of like a musical approach.
And I'm just also interested in a bunch of things. Like, I've wanted to screen print for a long time, and now I'm trying that, and it's like, well, I love texture too, so how do you get texture into screen printing, and how do you get this? So, yeah, I don't know.
Totally, yeah, no, that's awesome. And this is like, I can't believe this is your first one. It's so cool. It looks great. And I mean, I don't know a lot about screen printing, but each line is like it's much more laborious to get like a line than if you're just drawing it, right? There's a lot more.
Well, that was from a drawing that I scanned and then enlarged and then exposed on the screen.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, a lot of things for me do start with drawing. That's been my favorite thing since I was a kid is drawing. But, yeah, it was a drawing that I did that just flew up.
That's awesome. I love it. What do you feel like in terms of, because you've got this plan for the CB Nuit sort of community involved piece, and then you did you did a community involved piece last year. What do you feel like the sort of overlap between community and art practice is? What does it mean for you?
I think for me, that's only something I've just started to wonder about. Art for a long time has been processing or therapy for me.
Right.
And now that my life is less turbulent, I mean, it's been pretty calm, like more calm than it ever has been. And now I'm like, okay, like how can this interact differently with the world? And I think for me, it's really important for people to see that it doesn't have to be like something you need to be really good at. You know, it can just be fun, the process of it. Like for me, it's about being calm and just when I'm drawing, you know, outside, sitting in a park and just drawing a building, like it's so calming. And so hopefully interacting with people and realizing like this isn't a high stakes thing. It can be something you do with stuff from your recycling or garbage or your, you know, Tetra Pak printing I'm going to get into. I just don't have any Tetra Paks.
What's that? What's Tetra Pak?
Just like juice things with the metal on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
like I love the look of intaglio prints, but it's, you know, it's expensive for plates and expensive if you don't have a printing press. And so there's ways you can achieve those aesthetics very like free, pretty much. You just maybe buy ink. So yeah, I think just getting people to be able to make things in a no pressure environment is kind of my goal. That's
really, really nice, because I do think some people are sort of daunted by like the, just like the expense, the material elements of production.
Yeah.
So teaching, just like showing people that there are affordable and sustainable alternatives, also paired with this kind of approach that's about, you know, centering oneself and feeling calm. It's just that's a really I want to take your art class. That sounds great.
But I mean, I also just love other creativity too. I mean, I would love it if once I'm set up at the Rotary Arts, if we could have just a drop-in night where musicians and artists and theater people and scientists and like whatever. I mean, everything can be creative.
Yeah.
And to just get different people together and, you know, make whatever or just. Yeah, I don't.
That's so. I love that idea. Just like kind of have a vibe set up where it's like sort of free expression.
Yeah.
See what happens, kind of thing. Yeah. No agenda. Just kind of
just hang out, make stuff.
I feel like people would love that. I mean, I know like I remember talking to you a while ago about, you know, you were sort of dreaming up having some sort of studio or space, which now, you know, is happening here, which is like this building and this sort of establishment is such a great resource. And we were talking just briefly about like how, you know, obviously COVID has affected people's, you know, the ability to sort of just kind of like, I saw this meme the other day that was like, the thing that people don't talk about as much with COVID is that like a lot of people are still in touch with like the 5 people that they've always talked to the most. But then, you know, societally, we've lost a lot more of this sort of in passing, like gestural forms of engagement. And I can imagine that loss is, you know, is difficult. I mean, I also know it from my own experience in Toronto, but it's like, so much of that sort of energy can come from sharing studio space and having sort of events like that.
And even, you know, I'm pretty introverted and spend a lot of time alone. And I've always got a lot of joy from just being with my art supplies in a public space.
Yeah.
And maybe once the weather gets nicer and, you know, if COVID things are still going intensely, just having like outdoor gatherings, socially distanced if need be, any opportunity for people to be, they call parallel play, I think a thing kids do, where they're occupied by themselves around other people. So sometimes I don't think there should be pressure to interact, but being around people and having like your own supplies to just, maybe you talk a bit and go back to your thing, and it'd be really nice to have other people who want to do that or experience that. And
Yeah,
for sure.
I think lots of people want that. I mean, maybe you're naming it and not everyone like has a like language to put to it, but I mean that's like coffee shops are really popular for that reason too.
Coffee shops are pretty empty these days, though. I mean, it's a really bizarre time. The school's very empty.
Yeah.
But I think that is a thing for maybe artists to do is to go out, even if there's nobody out, and maybe just be out doing things. I don't know.
I think that like the plan to sort of maybe, post this couple of years of people really scurrying indoors and being isolated, like if it's safe to do so, like the plan to kind of slightly more consciously bring back in that sort of idea of parallel play, which is cool. I'd never heard it described before, but it is, I guess it is that for adults, like having that just like you say, maybe here having a night where people just come in and are sort of like I would, even when I'm just grading or something, I would love to sort of just be around.
Just be around, we can have tea and whatever, and it'd be really nice.
It's so nice.
I'll try, and maybe there's only one person who comes, but I'll just keep going, and maybe people will come.
Yeah, I think it's like a really nice kind of, it's the kind of thing where like if 10 people show up, then, or if one person shows up or whatever it is, if everyone would be sort of doing that anyways, then it's, there's no, it's not like, putting off a show where if nobody shows up, it's like sad or something. It's like, it's very much like the same, like it's just, it works either way, it seems like.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times when I'm working, I prefer to be alone because I get so distracted so easily.
Yeah.
But to be able to separate my space into like, okay, I have my alone working time, and then I have time where I can, stop and just talk and be open to, working and talking and whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. Yeah. I was thinking about like a difficult question to ask, and I feel like sometimes I don't know how I think of a difficult question in relation to art, but maybe I think of it as something that seems hard to summarize in one sentence, because we were talking, just for context, we were talking before this interview, and you're the only person who's yet been like, no, go ahead and ask me difficult questions. Not that anyone else necessarily like tried to get me not to, but I was like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. So maybe, is there, when in your art practice, so you've talked about what it does for you, and sort of this threshold of how it's been therapy for you, and then you've translated that now that things feel calmer to sort of try and convey that to other people in some way, and sort of expand it out into the community. What the stuff you're working on right now, is there a way you can sort of discuss like what the heart of it is, like what the feeling that sort of guides the work you're making now?
I mean, I would say there isn't just one feeling, because I mean, throughout the course of a day or a week or a month, things are all over the place.
For sure.
So I kind of make through any feeling. Right now, I'm just exploring what it is to be stable and have somewhat of consistency in life, because I'm not working through a lot of turbulence. It's in a lot of ways I feel like I'm just coming home. I know I wasn't born here, but it does feel like a very like this place for me. It's in here.
Oh, that's so nice.
I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, that's really, I mean, I don't think there's like a clear answer to the question. That's a great answer. But I want to ask you a little bit about that, like, because I don't think I brought this in the beginning, but you're not originally from Newfoundland, right? But you've lived here a few times.
Yeah, I grew up in BC, I finished high school in 2010, and I lived in Quebec for a while. I did Katimavik, a volunteering program, so it was a great way because I had always wanted to learn French. So we were in Montreal and then Yellowknife.
Oh, cool.
And then I moved back to Quebec, and I lived there for a few years, and then worked in BC, saved up for school, came here, and I've also lived in Regina and Duncan on Vancouver Island.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So I've lived around Canada a fair bit. I think probably just wandering, looking for a place that felt really good.
Yeah.
That's kind of been here.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so that's why I knew I'd come back, and I thought, BC, specifically the Lower Mainland where I'm from, there's a lot of concrete, and it's easy to feel trapped. And here, I mean, you can walk 10 minutes and you're in the woods.
Totally.
You can see the ocean. You can, yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, and I think that, like, looking at some of your work, like, there's this really interesting sort of quality about Corner Brook where, like, there are specific sort of colors and there's a specific tone. I find friends that visit will say that a lot. They kind of describe it as Twin Peaks-y or something.
Totally. Oh my God. There used to be a sign, I don't know if it's still there, by the mill. And I always wanted to just plaster like a wheat paste Twin Peaks sign and film it because it just reminded me so much of the intro. I thought,
that'd
it'd
be awesome.
Fun. Maybe one day, yeah.
There's something like also just about, sort of the colors of the place, but then like in the Twin Peaks vibe, there's also like a neon element or something.
Yeah.
And I find that's here too. I don't know, I feel like you embody some of that in your work, but I've never really talked to anyone about it before, but I feel like you know what I mean just because of the...
Yeah, it's a quirky place, and I mean, here in the wintertime is, the color scheme is very different than the fall when there's so many oranges and yellows and just beautiful. Yeah, it has changing color palettes, but there's still this quirky vibe here. I don't know how to describe it. And someone, I can't remember who a long time ago said, Corner Brook has a lot of transients because there's a university and there's, some jobs come up and people come and go and there's people who are born here and who are staying here, and then there's a lot of people from away, which is something I'm also conscious of, is being a person who's choosing to settle somewhere, and if there's implications in, like, I don't know, deciding to call a different place home. I mean, there's a lot of privilege that I've been able to just find a place and decide to come here. I think just navigating those kind of things, I don't want to come and ruin a place.
No, you're bringing so much here with your generosity and your practice, and just, like, I think it's great to have young, like, artists here generally. I mean, it's everybody wants that, so don't worry about that. It's no, but that's so nice to hear. Like, I feel like it's it's like home feels like home in you. It's more of a feeling than anything. So if you feel it, then that's amazing.
There's a lot of lovely people, I mean, everywhere, but it's I've always felt welcomed here, which is, I'm very grateful for that.
Totally, it's a special place. And we're at the RAC today. It's the art scene, it's really beautiful and interesting here. I feel like I say that in a lot of these videos, but it's always true. It's like it's a special thing. There's a special overlap of community and the university and sort of downtown. And I feel like what I've seen a lot of people try to do in the arts in the last while is sort of bridge the gap between the university and the rest of the city, and also bridge the gap between kind of St. John's and the West Coast in terms of creation. And it seems like that's happening here more and more in terms of just like the specific kind of angle of granting agencies, and also just like the festivals like CB Nuit happening here, which is a huge, like, really nice, very successful festival. Like, it went so well last year. I haven't been to any before the last year, so but it seems to be kind of a magical thing, and it seems to be, despite COVID, kind of a bubbling moment for creativity here too. So I think that's awesome, and you're doing so much cool stuff. before we sign off, is there anything else like so just to sort of clarify, the CB Nuit event is happening in April at the Arts and Culture Center, right?
I was told it's the 1st and 2nd, and I don't know any more details than that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in the evening at the Arts and Culture Center.
Okay, cool. So if anyone's interested in partaking in that, which sounds really fun, to like check out the CB Nuit website in the next couple of weeks is probably the best. And maybe in terms of your plans to create sort of, I know it's all very nascent at this point, like you're sort of just coming in here in terms of, when do you move into your studio?
I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear, but I think it's sometime in spring.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So people can sort of stay tuned about that on the RAC website. I'd say you guys will probably
If
post that
there's anything
eventually.
going on,
Cool.
And I'll have a studio and I'll be in it frequently. So
Awesome. Is there anywhere people could see your art, like online or anything?
yeah, I have an Instagram which is at Jessie JESSIE .Donaldson DONALDSON, and I have a website too, but I'm terrible at keeping it updated. It's just jessiedonaldson.com.
Cool.
I'll hopefully get to that this spring, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Jessie.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay, see
Have
ya.
a good day.